That will work. That will work.
What are we thinking? Not using our...
Okay, I think it's working right now.
Yeah, this looks good. Ah, Moot. She's with us again.
What kind of oil do you have?
White lotus. Always white lotus.
Oh, I have Amura, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, of course I'm having Amura. Are you excited to record this podcast?
I'm super excited.
Okay. But
Yeah.
can you share a bit, just a tiny bit, because I don't want to hear a lot about it because I'm going to Siwa in May, but you
Oh,
just went there. But can you just share a bit about it? How was the place there? What were the energies?
uh, Siwa was so calm. And for me personally, I know you told me not to tell you any of my
Mhm.
secrets or anything that came up, so I'm trying to use my words sparingly, but
Keep
it
it
brought up
general.
a a really deep thread through my lifetimes, and kinda unraveled that for me, and it was all connected to priesthoods and some things like that that I won't share any more of, but, it's one of the most calm, settling places I've ever been. I mean, you're literally in the middle of a desert, and then you just have this beautiful, enriching salt to cleanse anything that is in your way, so it's a magical place, and I spent 2 weeks there just now, so
2 weeks. Ah, and you went there with the camels or just with the car?
yeah, straight with camels. We went for 5 days straight. No, with the car.
That will be cool. Like Alexander the Great.
No, I don't wanna
Second
do the
throne.
sweet camels.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But Celeste, can you introduce yourself? Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Um, I am Celeste, so Brian and I met in Egypt a couple years back,
Right.
and since then we've been working together, and super excited to hold a retreat with you soon.
Yeah. I'm
And
really looking forward to that.
yeah, I can't wait. But me on my own, in regards to Egypt, I've been working with the energy of Mut, so I work with the energy of the mother a lot. So I've really been incorporating that into my work back
Mm.
at home and when in Egypt. So really working with the primordial waters and that potential of who we are at our core, and
Mm.
who, it's how to get our soul and our unique presence to shine. And so that's the energy I work with from day to day. And then I do that in different modalities. I'm a yoga teacher. I work
Right.
with a lot of our ancient mystery schools here. Um, I work with Kambo, the uh, beautiful frog of the Amazon that helps detox. So I use a lot of different healing modalities to just really awaken the soul and like remind us who we are. And I think at the core of it, the reminder for me is just like how to enjoy life and not take life so seriously, and remember that we're all just like playing
So
this
important. It's so
beautiful
important.
game, and knowing that our psyche has the ability to rewrite the way our life goes, and not to be held back by anything, that we have this willpower, the Amun Ra
Mhm.
force that we can
Um,
use, and really propel our life in the way we want to. So that's the primary work that I do.
oh, that's beautiful. And we both have a beautiful connection with the Temple of Abydos. That's where we met, like
Yes.
almost 2 years ago, I think. 1.5 years ago.
Yeah, we'll say 2 years. I always
Yeah.
round up.
Yeah. Really beautiful. And that's really changed my mind because what we both did there, and you were in the second year there, and it was my first
Mhm.
year in the course. It's really training you how you can work with the temples as an deity, as an energies, and they are like um, mirroring your inner world the whole time. And it's like
Mm.
so crazy because we shared a lot about our experience there, and your experience are like, oh, I'm in the noon, I'm in the mood, I'm in mood. I feel so much love like the whole time. And I was like having crazy visions and messages and encoding the stuff for my inner world like the whole time. So maybe you can also share a bit about what Abydos did for you in the past. What is your connection with Egypt before I can also answer that and dive deeper into that?
Well, I think specifically with Abydos, it is a playground. So if you go to other temples, you're working with a very particular energy. So you're working with typically one energy, maybe the energy's family. So the nature, let's say if you're going to Dendera, you're working with Hathor. So you're working
Mm,
with this like beautiful love energy, and it's really tailored. But in Abydos, it's really unique because Seti I, when he built this temple, he was trying to unify the people.
mm,
And so he took the different energies of different naders, so naders being energy of nature, just what everyday life is about. He's taking these different energies and he's putting them together. And so he created what I like to call the playground
mm,
of all of these energies. So we have 7 main energies and really even more if you go even deeper within the temple. And so you just get to play and learn about yourself every single day. I've spent many months just in Abydos temple so far, and
mhm.
every single time I walk in, it's something different, right? You know this. Like you can walk
It's
in
always different.
the Rakharati room and you're like talking to someone through your lineage, and then you walk into Amun Ra room and you're feeling like the power move and shift in your body. And but even let's say I go into Amun Ra every single day, it's going to be different every single day too, because you're upgrading and changing your DNA and changing your codes, and
Mm,
you're really yeah, you're just able to awaken these different parts of you. And so I would say my first year in Egypt, I was by myself and I just
mm,
had this really deep dive and was able to awaken like the feminine heart and spirit.
mm,
And that was when I connected in with Moot and just got to drop into my heart. I was really masculine at the time. I was working in corporate America as a project manager, as you know, and I was
yes.
I was disconnected from my heart as much as I thought I was with my heart, and I definitely cared about people and cared about social aspects of my life. I didn't understand how to connect wisdom and heart together. I was really kind of
Mm,
separating the two. And I thought I had to be ruthless and I thought I had to like have these male tendencies in order to get through life. And then really the first year onward has just been how do I awaken my heart even more and allow that energy just to flow through me and like allow my heart to
yeah,
lead me through my life.
I recognize like every word you say. Of course I do, but it's so crazy because that whole course is changing, has changed your life, changed my life, and
Mhm,
I heard you talking about how it changed your life, and it was ripping all parts away from you that doesn't just fit anymore.
mhm,
And I was going through that same process because it's just when you're diving into that old ancient energies of Egypt, they really show us who we are in our core, in our essence.
mhm,
And I think that's beautiful, but also you can't we don't have to underestimate that because it can be intense sometimes to really work with the energies of old of ancient Egypt. And I know for myself that I was pretty clear in what I wanted from Egypt, and it was to work with the Netaru.
mhm,
I just had the feeling, okay, all the other stuff I don't I don't care about it. I just want to learn how to work with the Netaru because they were like they are parts of our universe. They are creation of God, of Amun Ra. And I really love how they're also, yeah, how do you say it? Sometimes I have to translate the words in my head. They are like having a unique energy where we can learn from so that we can develop ourselves like as a soul, as a human being,
mhm,
and go back to who we are in our hearts. And that's like, for me, it's like Amun-Ra and Mut, like the essence
mhm.
of creation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny to be in the Western world studying these things, right? I'm
Mhm.
sure you've encountered this as well. It's just like a lot of people don't understand what we're studying, and they don't understand what, like, they look to it almost like it's a religion, or like it's we're going against what other religions say. But really what I think it is at the end of the day, if we look towards the ancient texts, if we look towards just what we're told in
Mhm.
the temples by our own spirit, like, we realize that these are just teaching us parts of nature. They actually never called the worship of these gods. They were never called
Oh,
gods
mhm.
back in the day. That wasn't what they were. And
Your powers.
really, yeah, the deeper understanding of Egypt now, as it fell, maybe it became more corrupt and these sort of things. But at its core, you and I both know
Mhm.
that these are just the energies of nature. And so they were really wise because they knew that there is that primordial space of waters and where we come from, but they knew that, we are in this illusion, and we are in this life of just this play. And so they
Mhm.
wanted to respect nature, and they wanted to be able to call out each and every little bit of nature and give that respect. So they even have a god for the name of the sky in which the sun sets. So every single little part of nature is called out. I think they had like 3,000 naders, or what we're
Mhm.
calling gods now, right? And so it's respecting the world in which we've created, and just giving gratitude and love, and also helping us learn how to work with that. So you and I
Mhm.
both are initiated with certain energies, me with Moot and you with Amun Ra. And so we get to take that knowing of who we are and like
Mhm.
what our soul really wants, but then we get to see how that particular part of nature then fits in with other parts of nature. And we can see, where can I as a human, how can I improve myself
Mhm.
by working with different aspects, you know, um, I would say for me personally, like Nefertum has been, sorry, not Nefertum, Isis's
Don't
sister.
start
Why am I
about
going
Neptune,
blank?
please.
Not Nefertum. We're not talking about Nefertum today. Nephthys, sorry.
Yeah.
Nephthys for me has been an energy this year specifically that I really worked with a lot, because
Oh,
it's the sisterhood wound, and pretty
yeah.
much every woman on earth has this wound. So the story is that um, Isis and Nephthys, there was a little encounter. We won't go into the whole story, but there
Yeah.
was an encounter where Nephthys kind of did her sister Isis wrong, and so they say this is the seed um,
Mhm.
of kind of the sisterhood wound.
Yeah.
Um, but also it's how we can repair the sisterhood wound as well. So because Moot is heavily connected in with Isis, and so I relate more with the Isis energy. And so I can say, okay, knowing that this is the energy that I carry, knowing the story of how Isis and Nephthys kind of work together, I can use that story and I can use that energy to now come back and bring that into my life and heal the wounds that I have with my sisters
Mhm.
in real life, and with just the deeper lifetime sisterhood wound that has been created. And so I can use that energy and use the stories and use her
Yeah.
presence to really, heal that part of me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I have the same with had the same last year with Anubis, as you know. And
Mhm.
it's the same story, right? Yeah, I love Anubis. He's like a protector and his energy is so fierce and strong. But yesterday night I also did a transmission connecting with Anubis and with Osiris. And then I also felt that that whole process of becoming Osiris, the resurrection of Osiris, is really beautiful because of the story of Anubis, because it is Anubis who's getting born out of the womb of Nephthys, because of Nephthys changed herself in Isis and having sex with Osiris. And that's the story you're also talking about for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But then it's Isis who is embracing Anubis as her own child. And that is
Mhm.
like pure, pure, pure love. And that story,
Mm,
I love it so much. It's so
yeah.
beautiful because when we see when Osiris is killed and separated in 14 pieces, like it's also symbolic for a fragmentation of the souls, like a bit of
Mhm.
soul retrieval, maybe also.
Yeah.
Then it's Anubis who is helping Isis, and there is also Nephthys involved
Mhm.
by getting the pieces of Osiris together so that he can be resurrected. And it's so a beautiful story if you see that everything is fully connected with the pure high field of love. Then
Mhm.
um, people can change, energy can change. And also Anubis, who was born out of betrayal, maybe, and he goes on this little journey from darkness to light. And that's like the whole thing we see in Egypt, right? It's also
Right.
about duality, about embracing the dark, embracing the light. And on my own little journey, well, connecting with Amun-Ra and Mut, and I'm also talking a lot about it with Erica, and she's always saying to me, Brian, but everything is Amun-Ra, like everything. Also the dark, also the light,
Exactly.
also betrayal. Everything is in this completely field of Amun-Ra. And that's so beautiful if you can see it that way. And that's, of course, it's a little bit of training, but it will
Mhm.
really help you to see the light in everything. And I think that the energies of Amun Ra and Mut can really help us to see non-duality in this dualistic world.
Exactly. Yeah, I think like we both keep that high level understanding of consciousness. And so maybe I want to just speak to kind of that beginning point. So I think we've been kind of hinting at it here, but um how the ancient Egyptians saw it and how you and I uh, come to understanding together is that they use the word noon, but also many different stories, many different names. But this, um, and not just ancient Egypt, like everywhere. The Native Americans
Mhm.
have it, the Mayans have it, like everyone has this. There's some sort of primordial water, cosmic waters that's just kind of floating around. It's this potentiality of everything and then from that, something happens in all of these different traditions. Maybe it's a turtle mound. Um, in Egypt, it's a bin. So it's all kinds of different stories, but it's always about that willed force of creation coming up
Mhm.
from this potential. And so there's this potentially swirliness that is always happening within us. And so we have to not only think this is not just a story, like a timeline, like a linear
Mhm.
timeline. Like this is like always happening. We really can't put words on it, but it's there, has always been there, has always not been there. It is just that space that is always deep within us that we can always
Mhm.
find. And then from that space, we get to choose with our will. We get to be Amun Ra in every single moment. We get to use that action. So we pull that feminine potential and then use that willed force of creation in each and
Mhm.
every single second that we're alive, you know? So we're taking the unconscious and making it conscious. And that's really all that ancient Egypt is really trying to teach us. It's saying, don't forget who we are. Don't forget that we're these like
Mhm.
cosmic waters. Don't forget you are potential of everything. Don't forget also that you have the will to create everything. So you're also always the creator. But then it's like, remember that forever, but also now let's go into nature. And then also, how does that little part of spark that came out of consciousness, how does that little piece of the puzzle want to create? And so then that's really the naders and how you connect into your own unique vibration. So we're all just these beautiful little waves making choices every single day. And that's what's brilliant is that we realize that we're viewing this from ourselves, we're projecting this from ourselves. So we always have all potential of life with us forever and always, you know? So we always are Amun Ra. And you're right, like it is we are the light in the dark, but that means that we have the potential to change the world. We have the potential
Mhm.
to not only change ourselves, but everything that we're affected by. So,
Yeah, right.
I think that it's not just by me making more conscious decisions for myself. I don't think it's just I'm changing my own life. I really do think that as you and I and everyone starts to make these more conscious decisions, we're changing it for the entire world. And I
Yes.
think
Great.
what we're seeing in the world right now is really a upheaval and a darkness coming to light. And so while it
Mhm.
seems really unstable and unsettling, it's also just like really exciting for me
Yeah.
because it means that we're starting to recognize, we're starting to become conscious, and we're starting to, um, unravel back to the truth of Ma'at, Ma'at being the one of harmony and the one who knows truth, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was reading also an article about it this morning about the world not being in balance anymore, and that it's Maat, the
mhm,
cosmic order, is showing itself on, hey, look into the world. This is not only happening inside of us as an individual, but also as a collective.
mhm,
Things are changing, and all low vibrational energies are coming to the surface. And now I don't know what you think about it, but when I'm looking at the social media news, it's like one big circus that you like people just, how can't see anymore that it's not right anymore. It's things
yeah,
are really, really strange. And we also talked about it before we recorded this podcast, but like maybe it's just also right now in this moment so important that not only to connect with the energies of Egypt, but just connect with the energies of love, because I really believe that the world needs a shift right now. And I believe we're already into that shift, but
mhm,
feels like we can go two ways right now. Or we blow up the fucking world. Maybe that's also a solution.
not,
Fingers crossed it's not going to happen. And otherwise we could just going back to heaven. So that's great. At least we are
yeah,
going we are going back to heaven. But the world just needs a beautiful transformation right now. And
mhm,
me, that makes that it's so important that we learn to understand how those energies work. And
mhm,
for us, we're talking about the Netheroo. If you're working with other kinds of energies, that's also completely fine. But the Netheroo are really showing us how the world we live in is working.
mhm,
And they show up in so many different ways. Before, when we need that fiery place, that fierce place of transformation, then we can invite Sekhmet to work with us. But
mhm,
if we just need the love of the cosmic mother, we invite Mu to work with us.
mhm,
And it's so easy to connect with those energies. And I think you know the words to it, because when I use Jet Medu, and then the name of the nadir, and I repeat that 3 times out loud. I did it also yesterday in a transmission. Then we can just feel how the energies of the specific nadir will entering our bodies and can work through us. And it's like
mhm,
magic. It's really like magic. And that is
mhm,
also the part of Egypt that I love so much, that you just learn how to, it's like in nowadays that it's almost strange that we don't know how to work with the forces of nature,
right,
because it's like everywhere. It's not, of course, in Egypt there's the energy is so much stronger there, and that's also that I believe that many people feel attracted to go to Egypt there to remember who they really are, to remember to work with these energies. But they're also here. They are in the States. I believe there are many set energies in the States right now.
the whole world.
Here in the Netherlands, in Spain, at the sea, at the forest, the energies are like everywhere. And how beautiful is it that we learn how to connect more deeply with nature itself? Because
Yeah,
that's, for me, I feel it most home when I'm just in connection with its forces of nature.
yeah, and there's the hermetic principle of like as above, so below, right? And so that's really a lot of what Egypt is teaching us is how to take the worldly energies and bring it within, and then bring vice versa. How do we reflect within to change the world around us? And it really starts with learning how to feel, I think. our society has, at least in the Western sense, has been trained how to not
Yeah.
feel anymore, how to put up a guard. And I think I see this changing, and I see the newer generations feeling a lot more. Um, and there's one Native that I really really love, which is Sia, and she's the um, goddess of um, w- wisdom, but with the heart. So she um, is speaking the right words, but it always has to come from the heart, and that's her gift, is to be able to speak that. And I think that's what the world really needs right now.
Yeah.
And so they say Sia and Hugh being the spoken word. Those are both
Mm.
the offspring of Ra. And so those two in combination, like what are the words we're speaking, and using our words as magic, and that can be used for good or it could be used for bad.
Uh,
And then there's Sia, and so we use them both together. We use Hugh, the spoken voice, and then we use Sia, who's the wisdom of the heart. And so when we put those together, we can really start to
mhm.
change the world around us, and not just not just want the world to change, but actually change it with this. And I know that you and I have had a lot of discussions about this, how our own life has changed. And we both
Uh,
pretty much uprooted our entire life since we've been in Egypt and spending time there. And, I know we have a little bit deeper connection with Egypt, where we've really devoted our lives to this energy. But what we've seen from people and participants who have come with us on the retreats
uh,
is that people are really changing their lives from this. It's not just we're visiting and we're gonna go say hi to the temples and walk away, which we see a lot of tourists do, just pick up the camera. But we see them really change their lives. They're reflecting to us the things that are different. There's people so much more in their hearts now than there were before. You can see a glow on someone where you could kind of feel a little bit more darker energy before. Like you really can see the difference when people go there. And I think it's because it carries the vibrational frequency of love, and really helps people understand their unique soul's calling. And so when we're in these retreats, we're really trying to help them understand who they are by using this wisdom of the heart. That's really what our focus is on, I think, you and I, is
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
with fun and with joy and play and jokes, like
It's a
so
little
chill.
playground, but it's also interesting how it started, and we don't have to dive into this whole story. But for me, it feels like that past life we had together was just how do you say it, preparing us also to come back in this lifetime and learn people how to work again with the energies of ancient Egypt. And I
Right.
still feel that those two timelines are healing each other,
Yeah.
right? Because ancient Egypt is not only love and light, there's also darkness. And
Mm,
I also always have that strange feeling that that lifetime over there and the lifetime this us are happening at the same time. Like it's healing, like it's
mhm.
really healing on different timelines. And yeah, I don't know why, but from the first moment, we also had the feeling that we have to work together. Like, okay, just okay,
Yes.
we have to do that, and we're going to do that. And yeah, the last retreat was also beautiful. We had like how many people had we last year? 8, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like so many different cultures. I really loved that. We had people from Brazil, from the Netherlands, from the States, from England, from
Very
where's
cool.
where's Karen from again? I always forget that.
Originally Singapore, but yeah.
Yeah,
They're all little travelers, weren't they? Yeah.
yeah. So that's really cool, right? That you have that a group comes together from so many different cultures, but all with the same intention, and that is to connect with the old energies of Egypt, to explore themselves from the inside. And that's really what Egypt does to us. It helps us to
Yeah.
go inside. And it's not only the temples, right? Because when you go to Egypt, everything is like a mirror. When you walk to the streets, people will talk to you. When you're on the Nile, when you are into the temple, when you're into the meditation, it's like the energy knows that you are there and it's working with you on so many different levels.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, speaking towards the past life, like what we really share in common is the understanding of needing to protect the light. I think that's what you and I
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
generally our mission is collectively, and I think that uh
Yeah.
it's an important mission for all of the world right now. I don't think it's just a mission that you and I exclusively share. I think it's like anyone who is awakening. I think there are always, because we're in a dualistic world, we have people who can be of service to self and people who can be of service to others. And basically it's just you choose your path. You choose where you want to be. And, I think we both have committed to service to others. And the only way that I see to be able to commit yourself to others is by knowing your unique code and being
Hmm.
able to really pull that code out. And so, this is our unique code and this is how we work together and what our little soul's mission is for this lifetime. But that's what the people who come to Egypt, not just in our retreat, but anyone consciously going to Egypt and really knowing how to feel into the temples and um gain the wisdom, the codes there. I think that's what everyone's trying to do. Everyone's trying to understand, how do I awaken my uniqueness?
Hmm.
Um and that's what the initiates did, 5,000 years ago. I've been
Yeah.
really into the pyramid texts. I've been to the Pyramid of Unas before, but this I went back after reading them.
Hmm.
It's a really beautiful book. It's called The Shamanic Text, The Shamanic Wisdom of the Pyramid Text. Jeremy, I forget his last name, but I'm sure the title could find it. Um, but he goes into the initiations that happen there, and it's just brilliant once you realize what's happening, because it's taking the pharaoh who is supposed to be this like embodiment for Earth and the embodiment of the heaven down to earth. And so it's really, the pyramid texts show us what the pharaohs of the ancient times really were going through. And they really, I believe, true heartedly tried their best to not only die once, but die multiple times in the shamanic sense, not in the physical sense. But um, it shows his journey of how to go into the underworld and how to face all of his fears and how to uproot everything in his life. And then not only how to fall, but how to get back up. And so it's this journey of just seeking down, 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 so that he can then be propelled up. And so there's always, in all ancient wisdoms, there's always some sort of symbolism of rising back up again. Sometimes it's a ladder, sometimes it's raw,
Hmm.
helping come back up, but there's always some symbolism of coming back. And
Yeah.
so when we talk about uh as above, so below, we have the principle of him going through some sort of initiatory process, some sort of death ritual, coming back. And then we can just look at that into our own body as well. So we can look into our system and see how our cerebral fluid works within our body and how we can work with different breath work and different practices and pull that energy back up so that we can, in a sense, die and then come back to life again. And so
Yeah.
this is what Egypt teaches us, is these really ancient and yet intuitive practices that basically show us how to die, because we realize that death is just a new beginning. And even if we die in this physical world, it's just going to be the next step, the next journey. And so having these pathways, these initiatory rites that kind of kill off our ego as much as possible in the most healing sense, and then we
Hmm.
rise again, just like Osiris did. Um, what a little tangent with the death process. But
Yeah, but it is really beautiful, and that we see that like in so many different cultures, religions, also religion, that is also always about dying and the resurrection part. It's like that's not for nothing. That happens for a reason. And
Mhm.
you see a certain wisdom flowing through all those different cultures and religions. And I believe that it all started even before Egypt, it maybe in the time of Atlantis, Lemuria, that there was a certain wisdom, a certain light on earth.
Mhm.
And then something happened. You know, you see the stories of the Great Flood. I believe that really happened. And sometimes I really have multiple dreams about it. I think I told you that sometimes I
Mhm.
still have those dreams sometimes about the flood.
Mhm.
And I believe that in that certain time, maybe a small group went to Egypt as a safe haven and brought us certain light with them. And they were trying to learn, the people who were still living there, the ancient wisdom how work about the world, about the universe, how it works, as you were sharing the stories, as below, as above, as within, as without. That's also not for nothing. It's a principle that is here for so many thousand years, and it's so still alive. And I believe that that's something that is really perennial. For sure, you hear every teacher talking about it's as below, as above, but it's not. It has a reason, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and I believe that ancient Egypt, there is a core essence right there, at this specific time that it's coming to the surface. And I believe still that there are so many people attracted to Egypt because they just start remembering that essence. They start remembering who they are, how the universe works. And I think when we connecting it to this time also with the war and everything was going on, that right now is the time to remember who we are, to connect with the light, to protect the
Mhm.
light, to stand up for the light. And that can be on your own authentic way. It doesn't mean you have to bring people like us to Egypt and talk about Egypt. It can also be to say no when somebody's crossing your boundaries,
Mhm.
or say yes to smelling the flowers, or say yes to a good meal instead of some how do you say it? I like trashy meal, fast meal, fast. I don't know the
Fast
English.
food.
Fast food. Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. Yeah, because it's about making lighter choices in the end, and it can be as simple as that. Just to say yes to something that you love and say no that's something you don't love.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, I think we overcomplicate everything. Like
Yeah.
we feel that we're small, and so we feel we can't make choices. We feel we don't have an impact, and that is just absolutely not correct. Like it doesn't matter the
Mm-hmm.
richest or the poorest. We all have an effect on this world, and you have to become the creator of your life. You have to be the one that chooses to make the life the way you want to make it. And so
Mm-hmm.
naturally, I don't think you have to judge yourself for any decisions you made in the past. We've all come from a more unconscious path. We've all walked an unconscious path, and we're all going to become even more conscious from where we are now. So there's no judgment on where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And we just need to take steps to saying, okay, I made this decision in the past, but this doesn't seem right for me now. And so it's really about living in the present. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's a really big lesson in Egypt. There's um the two lions yesterday and tomorrow, and then there's the sun in between. And so
Mm-hmm.
we'll see yesterday, tomorrow, and then a little sun disk. And so it's all about, okay, yesterday is looking this way, tomorrow is looking this way. But this is where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be the raw, the sun in between. And so the only moment is the present moment. And so really just full heartedly remembering that and not worrying, which is hard to do, but not
Mm-hmm.
judging yourself for the past and not worrying in fear of the future. And that's easier said than done. But the more you can live in the present, the more you get to make choices that are going to benefit you and not living someone else's life because you are the
Yeah.
creator. This is your story, nobody else's. And that's not what we're taught in Western society. At least I wasn't taught. And so
Hmm.
I was taught you know, I have to worship something that I'm not a part of. I have to uh I I had a lot of things ingrained into me. I'm not this, and this. And then once I was able to realize, why do I think I'm not these things? And then, so just a really simple one is, I'm not flexible. My family just said, oh, we're not flexible. You're just never going to be flexible. Well, now I'm a yoga teacher
Hmm.
and I can touch my toes now where I couldn't before. But it was like, I had to have that spark
It's a
of,
different kind of flexible, but never mind. That's with
but
info without, right?
But before I have a I'm actually sitting next to a photo. I'm I'm in my mother's house coming back from Egypt, and I'm sitting next to a photo where everyone is in a circle at my soccer team and everyone's touching their toes except for me. So I'm like bending my knees looking ridiculous because I don't
Sure.
think I because I was told I'm not flexible, I'm just never going to be flexible. And so if I kept that limited belief, I would be that way, and I'd probably have a lot of, like, health issues now in my 30s, not working towards my flexibility, but it was when my mental state became flexible that my physical body also became flexible. Obviously, I
It's
started
awesome.
yoga and did all the things that brought me to that state, but I thought it was impossible, is the point.
Hmm.
And then once I realized this is just a limited belief,
Yeah.
then, I was able to overcome that, and now it's something I teach, and there's so many examples of that in my life where you just think,
Yeah. If you
"I have a
change the
limited
belief,
belief."
yeah, if you change the belief, everything is possible, right?
That's it.
Because it's all connected, the physical state, the emotional state, the mental state, and the spiritual state. And they were
Mhm.
all influencing together. And what you're saying about those mental state, I had those different thoughts and worries about myself also that I couldn't change. But it's all in your head. But if you start believing that you can change, then you can change. And that's
Right.
also a thing that Egypt is learning us, I believe. And it's also funny that you're at your parents' house at the moment, and me too.
I know, it's hilarious.
It's really hilarious with all those old memories. And then you can see that the time can stand still.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know how
also
your
maybe
parents' place is, but here everything is still the same as 10 years ago.
but that's the thing, right? Yeah, we're coming back to weirdly, we're both in places where it's reminding us of who we were. But if we reflect on yourself and we see ourselves, especially since Egypt, for me at least,
Mhm.
but I know talking to you, it fits for you as well. It's like if I stuck with what this place told me I was, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be as happy. I wouldn't know my connection to source. I wouldn't know how to manifest the world that I want. I wouldn't enjoy my body, enjoy being in my body. I wouldn't be taking care
Mm.
of my health. I wouldn't be, breathing fresh air. I wouldn't be wearing material that make me happy and feel like I'm a higher vibration. Like there's just all of these things that could have limited us, but we chose to go through our dark, because
Mhm.
it's hard to believe that you can be more. I think
Mhm.
that's the biggest trick is we've been told that we're small. We've been told that we're a certain thing. And
Mhm.
so coming over that is really what I think Egypt teaches us, especially in Abydos. Especially in
Mhm.
Abydos. We see every single little thing come out of us that is saying, you're not perfect, you're not good enough, you're not strong enough,
Mhm.
you're not wise enough. And the temple just says, you're wrong. Like you're
Mhm.
completely and utterly wrong. You are this beautiful spark of creation. And there's absolutely nothing standing in your way except for yourself. And we
Yeah.
want to project it. We want to say, oh, society is doing this to us. We want to say, look at the world and how it is. It's like, they don't get to make your choices. It's your choice. All of your
Yeah.
life is your choice. And that's
Yeah, sure. And of course, society is doing things to us, and but we have the choice to let it happen or to make other more important choices for ourselves
exactly.
and start connecting with who we really are. And I think that's the thing what's most important still in the end.
Mm-hmm.
We start remembering our inner essence. And it's so beautiful again that the temples and the native rule really helps us to open that up because it really shows us who we are at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And what you said about the temples telling you that's not who you are, but let me show you who you are, and that's also beautiful because I believe, and I know we both had those experiences, like crying the whole day about the magic of the temples and how beautiful the energy is, and that it's so it feels like home. And it's not only, of course, it's the place there, but it's the energy would let you feel from, okay, I'm finally home. This is who I am in my core. And of course, when you go home and you go back into your daily life, old stuff is coming up. But when you have that experience when going to Egypt or learn to work with those energies, then when time passes by and you keep practicing, you learn how to work with the worries. And
Mhm.
I, for sure, I've worries sometimes, but then okay, it's not working always, but most of the time, I just try to laugh at it and embrace it because when we're
Yeah.
starting to fight those worries, it become like more like inner resistance and becoming struggle and a conflict. But if we can just see the worries for what they are just worries, just flowing around. It's not real. It's very stuff, and then just see it like that and just laugh at it, embrace it, and then make a choice in that moment. From, okay, this is not who I am. It's who
Right.
I was, maybe who I believed I was, but it's not who I am. And then that is how you can change your inner work. But for the most people, that takes some time. It's not like one day
Definitely.
to another that everything is changed and you're completely alignment. I believe that alignment is embracing everything what is here at this
Mhm.
moment and in the present moment. And that's like also when I was sharing about that other timeline and this timeline, I believe it's all happening right now and that we can use meditation, transmissions, activations, or the temples working with the native root to tune into that other timeline and start remembering, start downloading the information from that timeline, start healing it, and also the other way around. And maybe when we die and we get resurrected again, we can just dive into that other timeline again. Because when everything is now, right? We're just
Yeah.
playing this small part of this whole existence, worrying about paying taxes and paying our bills, and then zoom out, and just
Right.
see see the world, see your town, your province, your country, see the world, see the universe, see the multiverse, and then we just so a small part of just small little humans with so much potential in it. It's like beautiful, right? That we are so
Right.
small and at the same time we are like everything and we can be everywhere where we want by just traveling and through the energy.
Yeah. I think it's such a hard concept to explain to someone that you are this potential always. But if you are able to tap into that space, once you're there, you can never forget it. Like you might temporarily in a heated moment, your anger comes up or whatever.
Mhm.
But you can always come back to that space once you find it. And that's the thing, it's in everybody. Every single person has this. It's not unique to some spiritual guru, like those days are over. Like no one has that that reign over anyone. Like we all have this potential in us. And sometimes what I see is that the potential can be overwhelming. And
Mhm.
so this is really when we come back to dualistic principles, this is where we can go back to, the tantric play of like the masculine and feminine and
Mhm.
we have the potential, which means we can literally do anything that we want. And so now in this body, in the resources that I have, like what is it that I want to create? And if you don't have those things, you can manifest it. And and work with it. It doesn't come right away unless you're
Yeah,
very
to
tuned
take
in.
divine action.
But yeah, it's like learning the principles of duality to overcome them. So if we look towards the pyramid text, we'll go to like the pyramid text of Unas. It's one of the more popular ones. Um, he goes through a journey, and what he does is, it's really interesting, is the pharaoh is going through his kind of death journey to come back to consciousness. And at the beginning part, he is claiming, oh, I am following you, Ra. I am following you, Osiris. And so at the beginning he's saying, I am uh trying to become uh like you. And then he does become like him. So then the stage switches over to, okay, now I am you. So now he says, he claims, I am Ra, I am Osiris. But then it's really important that you look in the text. He says, after he becomes like Osiris, he then says, I'm not even Osiris, I'm above Osiris. I'm one with the four primary gods. And then once he gets to the four primary gods, he says, no, I'm even above you. So it's stages. You see, he goes through stages. He starts off, I'm looking up to you, I'm trying to become you. Then he becomes that. Then he looks to the next stage, I'm looking up to you, I'm trying to become you. He becomes that. And so he does it all the way up. Even when you get to the primordial waters, he says, no, there's actually even the step beyond that. There's the fullness that I am literally every single thing. And so he has to claim each and every stage as he works his way up. And that's what we have to do as well. Like, this is just the stages of how we become conscious. It's look towards the energies above us that can help us, but then realize even deeper that you are more. And then you go again. I'm even more than this. Okay, now go again. I'm even more than this. Eventually the last stage of enlightenment is just the fullness of who we truly are. And, I don't think you and I have made it to that stage yet, or else we probably wouldn't be in these bodies. But, we're
On our way.
we're on our way. We So I just think it's an important distinguish to, or something important to understand, is that, everything is a ladder, everything is a stage.
Yeah.
But if you can just know that you're always the next step to where you think you are. So our psyche is going to try to bring us back down to earth. Our call wants us to be in our bodies, in our earthly mindsets, and our earthly ways. But if you can really hold on to that knowingness that you are more than this body, claim your body, because your body is the vessel that brings heaven down to earth. And that's how we can channel and like make this earth something fun to be in. Like, I'm not trying to sit around here on this earth and just be in pure hell. I want to make life beautiful, not just for me, but everyone around me. That's what I've, dedicated myself to. And I know you as well. And so it's like, how do we pull heaven down on earth? Well, the only way is to know who we are and to take that next step. The highest next step we can possibly imagine ourselves, go there. And then once you're there, keep going and just keep
Yeah, and it
out there.
also goes with ups and downs for sure.
Mhm.
Because we're going a level up, and then the ego is getting a little bit scared, is trying to pull
Right.
you down a bit, and then you remember, oh, I'm back in my old habits. Let's go a little bit deeper. Let's take another step, and then you go a little bit higher and higher and higher. And I also believe when we're taking too much light at the same time, our nervous system is like going to
Yes.
explode. We can't handle that. We
Yeah.
just need to be very soft with our physical bodies and also with our mental state. And if we can just try to imagine, if you right now at this moment see the whole universe for the first time, and then, are you still there?
I lost you, but you're back.
Yeah, I hope it's recorded, but for
I didn't hear.
I will repeat it.
Repeat
Just
that part.
try to imagine that for the first time you see the whole universe, and that you are the whole universe. Can be a bit too much, but if you can process it slowly, just see a part of who you are, and then you see their part of who you are, and in the end you see that you are the whole universe, and then it goes now slowly into your system. And maybe that's also different, but some people just give me the whole universe and it's all okay, and other people just taking slower steps, and that shows us that everybody has his own time, his own period to go to this evolution of the Bao, this evolution of the soul.
Right.
And still, if we get too much light, you also see some in movies. You see it sometimes, and somebody sees an angel of pure light, they just explode. I don't want that to happen with people, and I don't think they want to happen. That will happen to us. So that we have to, yeah, go really slow in that process. And we all want so fast in this Western life. We want to do it
Mhm,
today. At least now, maybe we just want to do it yesterday. But we have
mhm,
to learn how to slow down in life so that we can, yeah, come back in the here and now. And I was thinking about something uh, Jeshua said, because I believe he said that the ones who are the slowest are the first to enter heaven.
mhm.
That's
Well, yeah,
that's
I think it's a paradox, right? Because what's happening in the world is commanding us to go faster and to really root down in our light and really know who we are. But at the same time,
Mhm.
bodies aren't prepared, which, modern society has really pushed us away from taking care of our bodies, taking care of our health. Then we're going to have this resistance. We're going to have nervous system issues. I mean, we're literally going to get diseases. We haven't talked about
Yeah.
this, but my backstory is how I got into spirituality was I had multiple nervous system diseases. I had postural tachycardia syndrome, this little tongue twister, and fibromyalgia, migraines. I had all of these things. And my
Mm.
body just couldn't handle what was going on in the world. And I knew that there had to be something else out there. I wasn't spiritual at the time and I wasn't taking care of my body. So I started with my body. My body is where I started. I started Ashtanga yoga. I got really physically fit in my nervous system because I was already fit. I was a runner. I did soccer, all these things, football for all you Europeans.
Nice.
Uh, but I was what I thought was fit, but I wasn't fit because I wasn't taking care of my nervous system. And the nervous system is what carries our spirit. And so we really have to tend to that nervous system above all else. Um, and then once we take care of our body, it's working through in yoga we call them the koshas. So it's body, breath, then we can move on to the higher realms. And so this is where we start. We start with taking care of the physical, we start taking care of the breath body, then we can take care of the mental body, then we can take care of the spirit, and then work up higher to eventually take care of our bliss body and get in that beautiful state of bliss. But it's a system. We have to work the system or else, yeah, we're not prepared. And some people can have overnight experiences and transcend all these things. And it's very possible. But
Mhm.
more realistically, like you were saying, like we have to train ourselves. We have to prepare our bodies, prepare our minds, prepare our spirit as a whole.
Yeah. And for that, we have something really beautiful, right? Next Sunday. Because
Oh,
I see we're already recording for an hour and I can
yeah.
talk with you for a few more hours.
Yeah.
But as you know, I'm at my parents and it's dinner time. They are very strict at dinner time. So it's
Okay, well,
probably going to scream in 5 minutes that I have to eat. So I think we have to wrap things up for now. But this Sunday, we have something special, right? Because we are going to
yeah.
facilitate a free online webinar where we're going to dive deeper into the energies of ancient
Oh,
Egypt. And we're also going to share a bit more about our upcoming next retreat in September. But I also feel that it is not the last time that we could recorded something.
no, of course not.
So,
We have more plans for the future. I'm excited to collaborate more and hopefully we see everyone on Sunday.
yeah, we just put the form below this video on YouTube, and it's also on Spotify. So if you are listening on Spotify, it's also in the text below. And I would just also send it to the email list, and so that people can hopefully join us next Sunday. En voor de Dutchies, het is om 5 uur, dus het is nog net voor etenstijd. I was sharing that it's on 5 o'clock, just before dinner time. And you're staying in the States at the moment.
Yeah.
So that would be
5 o'clock is 11, and we'll double check that because we're not the best with time conversions, you and I.
no, that's different. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, now I see you at Sunday, and then we're going to facilitate a beautiful journey with hopefully all those people who are very enthusiastic after listening to this beautiful first podcast we recorded together.
yeah. Thank you
Do
so much
you,
for
do you
having.
have any last words?
I'm just, yeah, wanting to express gratitude for our connection and how Egypt has brought us together and the mission that we share. And
Mm,
uh, I'm just so excited to bring people with us to experience this, whether it's things online or in Egypt itself or wherever. I just really feel
mhm,
like the vibration that Mut and Amun Ra carry
mm,
as a primordial code to the universe is really potent and important. And I'm just really thankful that we found each other in the temples. We actually found each other in the tombs. The Valley of the Kings is where we we
yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't remember which tomb it was. Do you remember?
uh it's the one with the giant.
I know which, but I don't know for which
Yeah,
pharaoh it was.
I can't
Yeah.
remember that. I think it's the one that has two people in it. I can't
Oh,
think of
yeah.
the names right now, but
And maybe, shall we share what we're going to do in September, that special thing, or are we going to keep it a secret?
let's share. Why not? It's amazing. I'm excited.
It's amazing, right? Because we
I'm like, are
also
you
never did
thinking the
it
same
before.
secret that I'm thinking? I like,
I am thinking about that night. Are you thinking
yes,
about that night?
I am thinking about the night.
You are, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, because we're
Okay.
going to spend a night in.
The temple!
We're going to sleep there, and how special is that?
Ah!
Yeah.
So we can tell people a little bit more in person. We're trying to keep it on the down low a little bit, but yeah,
Mhm.
we're gonna spend a night in a temple. We know which one, so we can tell you if you inquire and talk to us,
Mm,
but we're so excited. It's in
that's
the
really
middle of the desert and such a beautiful energy, and I'm so excited.
that's special. So
Yeah.
this is a reason for people to come, just to only spend that night with us in the temple.
Well,
It's
and
just that
a
special.
billion other amazing, gorgeous places and
Yeah,
everywhere, but yeah, I am
special.
excited about that one night specifically.
Yeah, specific. Thank you, Celeste, for sharing your wisdom and your love. And I'm also really
Yes,
thankful for our connection. I'm looking forward to record more things with you.
yay.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.